Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Get Into It with Gila. I'm Gila Glassberg, your host, and today I have Sari Dana. You got it?
You got it.
Hey, thank you so much for coming on today.
Gila, thank you for having me. I
Of
heard so much
course.
about you and I
Yeah.
really stormed your Instagram and listened to your
Mhm.
self-care words and conversations. And it's so important. And just want to just like bring this out because I was just discussing this with you a minute ago. Just being in the Jewish world, I think it's so important to have Jewish leaders and that other Jewish people can understand. Like I feel like we have our own set of holidays and Shabbats and
Mhm.
stresses
Mhm.
that I don't think other people can understand. That like I think we use this one a lot, like that one big Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
We do it every week, every
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah. Every week, every minute. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
So
totally.
thank you for the work you do.
Yeah, sure. I'll just say I heard about you from my friend Tamima Zucker, who is my friend from high school, actually. Yeah, we went to high school together way back, and she suffered from an eating disorder, and now she's an eating disorder therapist, and we refer to each other, and she's like, you have to interview Sarah Dana. So I'm like, okay, got it. You got it.
I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of Tamima.
Yes.
I've watched her in action. We were on the same panel a couple of times in our high schools. She's incredible.
Yes, she really is.
Delivers her message
Yes.
beautifully.
Yes. I actually interviewed her, so she's like one of my first episodes if anyone
Yay.
wants to scroll back. Okay, so tell us about yourself. Where do you live? What do you do?
Whew.
What's your mission? Yeah.
Okay. So, like you said, my name is Sari Dana. I'm from the Sephardic Jewish community in Brooklyn that has its own set of perfectionisms and dramas around it. It's also one of the most beautiful communities in the world. We're very connected, we're very together. And because of that, it has its own demise and its own celebrations. It's like a
Yes.
little bit of both.
Yes.
A
Yeah.
lot of stigma with eating disorders and not feeling enough. But at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, we hold each other's hands and we really try to grow. And I think we are in the most growing stages that we've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Like my parents, my mom, immigrant, from Syria,
Wow.
I hope hope she doesn't listen to this, but snuck out. She's still
Wow.
scared,
Wow.
still scared they're
Wow.
gonna get her, just
Wow.
literally had
Yeah.
all of that.
Wow.
So now that we've been here for a while, I think we're getting our foundations in. We have a mindful eating disorder center just opened a few months ago.
Wow.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Where is that?
Incredible. It's from the Safe
Oh,
Foundation.
oh, yes.
And they have that offshoot so that they're really working hard. So I feel like we're getting support now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit about me and my community. I'm a
Okay.
mother, which
Mm-hmm.
is greatest joy. I'm a grandmother,
Wow.
Hashem many times over.
Wow.
Hashem. Got married at 18, which is
Wow.
somewhat typical at those times anyway.
Yeah, I didn't get married at 18, but yes, I heard people say that.
I had my children young, but I grew up with I call them family one and family two because I have three children, Baruch Hashem, married with children. And then I had a long break of 13 years of trying.
Wow.
And that was hard. That
Wow.
was hard. Yeah.
Wow.
That was hard. And then I was blessed with two more. So I have two
Wow.
teens living at home now. It's
Wow.
so exciting.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it is wonderful. It's
Wow.
wonderful.
Wow.
So that's my family. And
Beautiful.
yeah, and the mission that I've put myself in that I really like enjoy doing and feel so passionate about is really in the body positivity world and in creating our own positive self-talk. And it leads itself into a couple of different directions. Yes, in the body that we have today. Yes, in the celebration of the everyday efforts of being a woman. We wear many hats,
Mm-hmm.
many roles.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tell my husband, yeah, you do have a very hard job, but you know, when I was bringing up the kids, doctor and
Yeah.
healer and homework helper and
Yeah.
psychologist and the whole thing,
Yeah.
I'm so blessed to have a very supportive husband. With that positive self-talk. And that led me into just really empowering people in a general level. And it kind of works hand in hand. You know, when we feel better about ourselves, we feel better about our bodies. We put less attention on, you know, clothing is important, but it's not the most.
Right.
You know, all the skincare, hair care, it's all important and wonderful, but it's not the most.
Mm-hmm.
So empowering to be more, do more, show up more, live more, love more, you know, the whole thing. I think it all just like blends itself together. So,
Okay. So what's your official title? What do you call yourself?
so I call myself a positive empowerment coach.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah. And it goes to many directions. Like I said, I started off in the fitness world.
Yeah. I want to hear, like, tell me, do you have a story? Like, were you struggling
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah. 24 years old. I said, I am becoming a fitness teacher. I was always into fitness from when I was a young girl.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be the best fitness instructor that I could be. Like, this was like my world. I just wanted
Yeah.
to motivate and inspire, you know,
Mm-hmm.
health and wellness. And really, I was so blessed to have the opportunity to teach to like large audience, like 100 students at one time
Wow.
for years and years and years. It was incredible. I would stand up there and be like, wow, am I like really doing this? And I would just tell myself, it's like teaching, you know, if you teach to one person, you could teach to 100.
Wow.
I just always had that, you know, desire to be in front, to be on stage, to give, to lead, to speak up.
Wow.
But at some point, I was noticing that I was really enjoying this speaking part,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and the fitness began not to be as important anymore. Well, I'm still an exerciser and I still teach fitness, which I'm going to explain in a bit because this is so important. But I wanted to speak. I wanted to inspire with my words. And it wasn't easy for me because I was really very shy.
Really?
Really? I know. I know. I wouldn't believe it. I was really very shy and I didn't believe in myself. And I felt, am I saying the right words? Second guess myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I had found this practice when, let's see, it was 2009. It's called intenSati, which you might see on my Instagram a lot.
Okay.
And it's about movement, mantras, and meditation. And I wrote about it in my book, which I'll get to too. We have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Yes.
I'll
Definitely.
get to also. But part of this was taking my fitness instructing skills, you know, great from right, hands up, stretch, you know, all that stuff on the 8 count and to the music, but also in saying empowering words at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trained under the founder, Patricia Moreno, who had passed away about 2 years ago, but I worked directly under her for 14, 15 years.
Wow.
I was an avid student. And at some point I decided that's all I want to teach. Just that.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, this is my calling.
Right.
I can exercise and inspire and talk and give. And like, you know, I felt like, wow, this is the best thing that ever happened. Lo and behold, my students didn't think so.
Oh, really?
My 100 people, love of my life, really dwindled down to like none.
Really?
And I mean none.
They didn't like the exercise with the words?
It was embarrassing. It felt silly. People felt shy.
Yeah.
And let's remember that now it's 2023.
Right.
It was
Now it's like
2009,
normal.
2010.
Yeah.
No one knew what a quote was.
Right.
Motivation, positive.
Right.
What? Like
right.
meditation. Now yoga is mainstream.
Yeah.
But at the time, yoga was for yogis only.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
It did not fly.
Interesting.
It did not fly well at all. But, and now I'm going to put the parallel story to it. From when I was a young girl, 14 years old, and always into fitness and health, dieting, you know, just that, the strictness of the food and measuring and counting, perfectionism, weight, and it led me to the pendulum of binge eating, guilty, shameful, couldn't figure it out. You know, now it seems so clear. But at the time, I'm like, I'm a fitness instructor. What does this mean? How am I binging?
Right.
Well, to the story, I also became a health coach from Integrative Nutrition. And everything I learned was like, wow, this is great. Let's eliminate this food. Wow, this is awesome. Let's eliminate that. Little by little, elimination, 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 trying to be healthy, believing this was right. I feel like this story is like so many people's stories
Yeah.
at this time. I know
Yeah.
it's like nothing like today, it's not even like, what? But to me at the time, it was like, this doesn't make sense. I'm teaching health. I'm making juices for everyone. I'm selling juices. I'm selling smoothies. I'm giving health coaching. I'm have an audience in front of me with these 100 people and more. Like I had it all. And then boom, like binge hard. I would literally make my classes on Tuesdays because I knew weekends were so hard for me. So I had like Monday to like get back to myself a little bit. Like it was really, really, really hard. Shabbat was so hard that Kali called my name. The
Yeah.
desserts called my name. It
Yeah.
didn't make sense.
It's
Could
so hard, the binging. It's just like feels so out of control and confusing because you're like intellectually, you're like, I'm so quote unquote healthy and I know what's right. But like we just know that restricting doesn't work. But at the time, nobody knew that.
no
Nobody
one
was
knew
talking about it.
this. And being celebrated for the restriction. Wow, you don't need sugar?
Right.
Wow, that's great. What? You don't need carbs? That's awesome.
Right.
All that. So as a young girl from 14 years old, you're getting celebrated for losing a few pounds. You get to believe like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to look. I'm supposed to
Yes.
be there. It was hard. It was
Yeah.
hard. It
Right.
was hard. It was hard. Just all those emotions. And in my story, my book, I spell out a couple of them, and I'm going to raise that up for you in a second. I can't
Yes.
wait to see it. But just intersecting the health coaching, the movement and mantras and the binge. So I started, now that I was getting more into meditation, mantras, meditation, I just began becoming more mindful, more conscious of my thoughts. What's going on
Hmm.
in my brain? What am I thinking?
Hmm.
My emotions. What am I feeling? Obviously, as Jewish people, our soul is like a big thing, but I didn't see it then, even though religious Jewish person, like I didn't like the outside. My outer shell was just so important, thinner thighs, that just meant everything.
Yeah.
And, so I just started growing my insides a little bit more, conscious of my thoughts, mindful, um, believing in my power, using my affirmations, being compassionate to myself, being my own cheerleader, celebrating my wins, being okay with my losses, just being in the game. And incredible journey.
Did people think you were crazy? The people around you?
Crazy,
Right.
crazy, crazy. Baruch Hashem, at the moment, I'm going to fast forward. I teach in schools and all my yeshivas. I have a weekly class. I have online classes.
Right.
This
Right.
grew, but
The
I
time.
worked really hard because I was like telling everyone, no, you got to do this. You got to do
Yeah,
this.
you're
You
right.
got to
And
say, I am
everybody,
powerful.
yeah,
You got to
right,
say, I am
right,
strong. You just got to
right,
do
right.
it.
Yeah.
And I just wouldn't stop. I just
Were
kept on.
people were there any people in your life that were supportive of it or like were like, okay, it's a little weird, but I get it?
Not so much.
Mm.
No, not so much.
But you felt confident. You still felt confident it was correct.
I'll tell you why, because it helped me.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, if this helped me, it could help others.
Right.
At that point, I started to coach other people with binge eating issues using my same method. And it worked. And I'm like, wow, it worked for these 4 clients. Let me try a small group. Wow,
Hmm.
it worked. Let me try another small group. And I'm like, wow, this is really working. Let me write a course. Okay, it worked. Let me write a book. Okay, it's working. So I just
Wow.
saying like, wow, this works. And it just felt like another method. Like my hope is that these classes and the online classes that I began recording already, it's already up on my website. I didn't even tell anyone about my website yet. hopefully when this is out, it will be up. It's actually up probably in like 2 days, so it will be.
Okay,
Um,
yay.
but I'm hoping that this could be a resource. So for nutritionists, for health coaches, for intuitive eating coaches, for therapists, and
Mm-hmm.
all the therapists that I met along the way, I want to give them this a tool for their students that they could practice these beautiful words. My body is beautiful. My thoughts are mine. I'm one of a kind. And to really instill that in their hearts and minds on a repetitive, and that they can replay and redo this workout as many times as they need and want. So that's like, my goal to this.
Wow. So let me just backtrack for a second. So
Yeah.
you started learning about affirmations and meditation. Do you want to share how? Was it just through your own research? How did you find it?
Yeah. So this is what it is. When I found this class format called intenSati, I'm going to break it down for you. It's a hard word. And
Okay.
that's why I call it movement and mantra, because
Okay.
no one gets intenSati. So
Okay.
it really comes from my teacher, Patricia Moreno at the time, may she rest in peace, got this idea from Tony Robbins.
Okay, got it.
They were going over the coals. I've never went to Tony Robbins event,
Yes,
but I
yes,
know
yes,
about it.
yes,
And they
yes.
were doing the mantras. And
Mm-hmm.
she was this unbelievable fitness instructor in Equinox and all the top places. And she goes, oh my goodness, I'm going to meld this. I'm going to put this together.
Interesting.
And it's very, very challenging to teach because, and I wrote this in my book, because really in order to teach it, you need to become it.
Right.
So it took me years to believe the I am enough. Not so
Mm-hmm.
easy.
No,
Not so easy.
no.
It took me years to believe in my beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Not so easy. So saying the words just take time and time and then at that point, research and branched out and read and
Mm-hmm.
did all that and created the way I teach it on my, like as a Sari, as
Yes,
myself.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And very powerful. I bring in all the Jewishness about it, like the gratitude in it, the modernity in it. Now when I'm reading Tehillim, I like, underline, thoughts, meditation, like all the
Wow,
pieces where I can find those. So I bring in the Jewish aspect to the affirmations.
that's amazing. So you feel like that's what cured you from your binging?
So it was a big portion of it. I think it was a big mixture. So I did have a therapist, Marianne Cohen, who
Mm-hmm.
was the editor of my book.
Oh,
So we
wow.
connected that way. Yeah, it was great. And I worked with her for about a year. Um, and she really helped me see how much overwhelm I had in my life and how I did not put in my boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And that was I think a big thing as a mother. My kids were young
Mm-hmm.
at the time.
Yeah.
Those boundaries, so important, so
Mm-hmm.
important. So that was one aspect. The other aspect was the positive self-talk
Mm-hmm.
that it's okay. I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will make it in this minute.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about this day. I will make it in this minute. Then learning about meditations and about pausing, about slowing down my mind,
Mm-hmm.
putting in a meditation practice every day, putting in a journaling practice every day, putting in these rituals where I used to exercise for 3 hours a day. That's not important. Yes, exercise, but I was over exercising,
Right.
and I think that's a big thing. Cardio, 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 cardio. Do your cardio, exercise, do your walk, do your 30 minutes, feel good, but I think, get in those rituals that help balance ourselves, especially the type of lives most of us live.
Right. Right.
We're busy, busy,
So
you know?
obviously I don't know, but based on just this conversation and like conversations with my other clients who struggle with binging, was it that number one, the dieting and all the dieting voices, and then you said the overwhelm, so like just like absolutely no time to yourself. So like food was like your comfort or your time, your space.
Yeah. So I think that it's so funny, like I laugh because like now things make so much sense.
Right.
The night binge eating,
Yeah,
what happens at night? It's just when we want to chill. And,
exactly.
I also think I had a lot of rules,
Right.
like we have a lot of, thank Hashem, a lot of weddings. Thank Hashem,
Yeah. Yeah.
and a lot of obligations
Yes.
and a lot of school events. Like I don't think we have the typical life where we just, watch TV. Like we don't waste
Right.
that time, we're always
Right.
going, going, going.
Right.
And at some point I started to say no. I would send a note. Sorry, I couldn't attend. And I knew that was my self-care.
Right.
It was just too much to have little kids, put them to sleep, get their homework done, and run, 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 run. I couldn't do it. And I
Right.
started to notice what I could do and what I can't do, what my limit was. So I don't know if it was so much self-time. It was just so much.
It was so much.
It is so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And the combination of the restricting probably, you know?
Huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Eliminate. At the end, I was simply eating bars in my room alone because I didn't know what to eat. I was embarrassed to eat in front of people. I would even choke if I was in front of people, like
Mm.
anxiety of of
Following.
swallowing. I had so much anxiety of the food going down my throat. Like, is it healthy food? The orthorexia, which was a
Wow.
huge thing. Everyone just wanted to be healthier and healthier. And I'm like, at one point, I'm like, this is just not healthy.
Yeah.
And it's just so much what we thought was healthy for many of us and how it took us to such an unhealthy road,
Yes.
you know?
I really do know. I really say that all the time. Like when people talk about like healthy food or unhealthy food, I'm like, well, do you know what orthorexia is? It's an obsession with only eating quote unquote healthy food. So it's like, is that healthy? Like, I don't know why. It's like, I mean, we know why now. Hindsight's 2020, but it's like, it's just so crazy.
Do you think, the mainstream person is catching on to this, or is it mostly the people who are healed and now it's spreading?
It's so funny that you asked me that. So like when I first heard of intuitive eating, it was about like 5 or 6 years ago. And I've been a dietitian for 8 years. And I was always like more like I feel like I knew what intuitive eating was before I knew what it was because of my own disordered eating struggles of like restricting, feeling out of control with food or using my ability to restrict food to like add to my worthiness, like so much of like what I see in my own clients now. So intuitive eating was just like, yeah, that makes so much sense. But then when I remember like telling people about it and they're like, what? That makes no sense. Like, and then thinking like, okay, I didn't think it made sense at first either, but like really a lot of people do not believe in intuitive eating. And it's maybe it's definitely spreading, but I always think in my head, I think it's like still 90 to 10%.
Yeah.
90 to dieting. I hope that's not true, but
Right. Right. I get that. I remember when I started to bring out body acceptance, it was the most craziest idea ever. What do you mean accept my body? If I accept my body, I'll never exercise. I'll never
right,
eat
right,
well.
right.
I'll just like, fall apart.
Mhm.
It's actually, so the opposite and so loving when you can love and accept ourselves. It's not always easy.
No, it's not easy.
I'm in the stage right now and I want to maybe bring this out because it's important, in my 50s, menopause, body's really changing, skin
Hmm.
is changing.
Hmm.
I always had and I still do, like a muscular physique. I've always exercised. My parents are exercisers. Um, but things change.
Right.
And, so much going on. I'll just like, I don't want to talk too much about this, but just to acknowledge, all the tweakments and injections and plastic surgeries that are going on today
Hmm.
to the young girls. And I just want to just acknowledge it. It's, we have to like just begin talking about it. When
Yeah.
an 18-year-old is, I don't even want to say it, but
Yeah.
fillers, it makes me cry.
Yeah.
So, it's just all over. And I get it. Today we have things that can help us. But at the same time, it's really spiraling,
Yeah.
more and
Yeah.
more.
I have like two perspectives on that. Number one is like I'm not going to share anything specific, but I just remember I was talking to somebody recently about plastic surgery basically, and she was telling me that the surgeon who she was speaking to was like, every single person has done plastic surgery in the film world. Like, don't fool yourself. I'm like, I don't think that's true, but it might be. And I also just heard recently that like people like in where I live is like it's normal for people. I'm 32 for people to get Botox. I'm like, I don't know anyone that got Botox, but I probably do. And it's like what I say to my clients, whether it's about weight loss or about anything, changing your figure, changing your face, changing your anything, you'll never be happy. It will never make you happy. It will only make you feel worse. So like you'll lose the weight and you'll feel good for a month or 2 months or even a year, but then you'll feel, first of all, you'll probably gain back the weight and feel even worse. And even if you don't, you're going to start to realize how much of your self-worth had to do with your weight and how sad it is. It doesn't ever, I don't want to say ever, but for the most part, the more you obsess about the way you look, the worse you feel about the way that you look.
So true. It's so, so, so true. I feel it's so important that you're saying that. I'm just happy to touch upon this. And I don't want to give an opinion, you should do this or you
Right,
shouldn't do
right,
this. I feel like
right.
everyone makes their own personal choices, but I just want to acknowledge what is going on. And like, I call myself as one of my titles as a body positive educator, because I just want to educate on like why we feel this way. Like, Hollywood culture is, even if you have a TV, you don't have a TV, you have Instagram, you don't have Instagram,
Hmm, hmm.
it's in the air we breathe.
Yeah, yeah,
And we just need to know where it comes from.
right.
And I was like, this was interesting because really, as I was writing my book, things were changing so rapidly. I almost couldn't write it fast enough. And there was
Mhm.
things that I wanted to write that I'm like, you know what? I have no time right now. I got to get this book out because things are just changing. And, the body that everybody wants, it's full of breasts and it's narrow waist and a full of backside.
I always say that.
And while the Kardashians are removing the Botox from that to get less and removing her breast implant, I'm like, wait, it's too confusing. What is it? Like all the back and forth. So we just need to acknowledge where these messages come from and try, whoever's listening to this, to just try to block it out as much
Hmm.
as you can. Unfollow. Instagram is such a it's like a personal TV show. Like
I know.
it reads the algorithm and knows what you want. Just
Yeah,
try to block out as much and look at role models that we could really, want to emulate.
yeah.
It's a
I have
big
so much
thing.
to say. So okay, we could go there, but I want to go here for a second. So for the positive side of things, so
Yes.
what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
In which way? Work or personal?
In work, like I know you said you work in school, so are you like
Yes.
you're doing the fitness with the
Yes.
affirmations? What
So
does it
yeah.
look like?
So a few different. I know some people get very confused about
No, I
me
love it. I
because
love
I
it. I
do
can never
so
do,
many
yeah,
things.
I can never do the same thing every day. So I love it. I love
Yeah,
to
I
hear
do
that.
so
Yeah.
many things. So I teach an elective course at Flatbush High School, which is called Brain Health. And what that is, it's so nice because we have a whole entire year to deepen our understandings of ourselves and to grow our inner self. And we, do journaling and personal affirmations. We understand the background of it. The most beautiful part of the class is that we start the class with something that we feel we're lacking. And the last week of the class is where everyone has space to put in a presentation. And some people make artwork or poems or songs on how, all this work got them to where they are today, feeling
Wow.
beautiful about themselves, more stronger, less
Wow.
stressed, more
Wow.
peaceful. Yeah, it's incredible.
How old are those students?
High school, so it's open to 9th to 12th.
Wow.
It's a sale mod. It's in lunch. It's like in the lunch portion. So it's open. So whoever wants to come can come.
Oh, nice.
It's incredible. We share. Uh, it's beautiful. Favorite class ever.
Wow.
This year will be my first time teaching just the movement and mantra and meditation portion in high school, just that, not as a club. So after school, we're going to be, I am strong now, powerful today. and all those sort of words. So they're going to be sweating and moving, and that's beautiful.
I want to take your class. Is yours here?
100%. I'm in Brooklyn. I'm here.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
travel. We'll tell everybody.
Okay, good. Yeah.
And I travel. And my goal is really to reach out to Jewish communities. I know I said that in the beginning. Reach out to other Jewish community schools, other areas, and really spread this self-love message in a Jewish light. So excited about that.
Wow.
So excited. And then I'm always working on something big, whether it's the book, the course, this or that, a million things on my mind.
Yeah.
I teach a weekly class in my home that's for women.
Okay.
And working on getting all these on videos. So that's basically what I do. I'm always toying with getting back to, my course in a group, but we'll see. I did it a couple of years in a row, but I have to see how the book is taking present right now. So I might not have enough time for it this year, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, are you ready for the big reveal?
I want to hear what you want to tell me, like I have a book inside of me also, so I totally get it one day in Rosh Hashem.
Yeah, I'm psyched.
What was that just like? Oh, thank you. Was that just like I have all this knowledge and experience and I need to put it in writing? How did that come to be? Somebody asked you?
So no. So really what happened was I couldn't believe I stopped binge eating.
Wow.
It was just
how long did that take you? How long do you think it took from the time you started working on it?
On the book or on the binging?
Not binging. Yeah.
So really it began high school, 14 years old.
Oh, it started at 14. Okay.
Really until I would say a long time. Maybe like 49 years old, like a long time, 48, until it was so hard.
Until the binging stopped.
But once I put my mind to it, like I'm going to start using all of the tools that I have. I'm going to meditate on it. I'm going to visualize it. I'm going to journal on it. I'm going to affirm on it. I'm going to pause. I'm going to set, like, I said, this is my effort. I took away the scale. I took away my small clothing sizes.
Wow.
I threw away the diet books. I mean, like I did everything. I deleted, everything that didn't give me, good messages. I stopped magazine subscriptions. I did not want to see all these like skeleton bodies that I know are photoshopped. Like I really took a strong stand. I said, I am not going another day like this. And here's the big caveat, even if I gain a lot of weight.
Yes.
And that was the link that changed everything.
That's intuitive eating. Everything you just said. That's what intuitive
eating is. And I didn't know
is.
what intuitive eating was at the time.
Right.
And I became an intuitive eater without knowing it.
You figured it out without the book.
I figured it out without the book. I didn't know it at the time. It wasn't so popular. And then after I read the book, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
So I really didn't even study intuitive eating too much because like I lived it.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I lived it. And as soon as, like I said, it's okay if I gain weight, changed everything.
I just need to like grab that out of this podcast and highlight it because I think that's what my clients struggle with the most, which is like, but what if I gain weight? And it's like, yeah, you might gain weight. It's like, I can't. Okay. It's really hard. It's really hard to gain weight. I'm not minimizing it at all. I talk about it openly with my clients, with myself, like it's not fun when your body changes. Like you were saying before, not just weight gain, even weight loss. Number one, people lose weight and they're not happy about it. In certain ways, your skin changing, like your whole body changing, after you have kids or as you get older. And like, it's such a normal part of life that we demonize,
I know. I wish that could change. I really wish that can change. I feel like, the celebration of youth is so, it doesn't even make sense because everyone, thank God, ages. Right. So like it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
When we break it down.
I know.
It doesn't even make sense.
It's just so much reinforced in our psyche, I guess, like the beauty industry makes so much money off of us hating ourselves. That's what I
Yeah,
always say. Like, the more we hate ourselves, the more products we'll buy. That's just the way it is. So
absolutely.
sad.
Absolutely 100%. But that was it. As soon as I made that decision, I'm okay to gain weight, binging stopped in
So,
a moment. And
wow.
that's what I really wrote about.
How
Because
did
I
you get to that point of like, it's okay if I gain weight? What was that moment like for you?
really years, I'm going to say it's a
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey, years of growing my inside, years of finding my worthiness outside of my body, years um, of having compassion to myself. I mean, it's a very big thing. Like we're
Hmm.
very hard on ourselves.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
hard. Very,
Very.
very hard. Understanding that binging is actually helpful. There was like an element of this. I was feeding myself by binging,
Yes.
and that was tremendous. Like
Yeah.
God saving me. I was
Right.
starving.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was starving because I
Right.
kept eating,
Because
but
like everybody's telling you how amazing you are by how little you're eating. So why would you think that you're doing anything wrong?
right. Right. And even after my kids, I still had a very slim and strong body, still. So like, oh, we have to keep it. We have to keep it up. We have to keep it up. Most of the nutritionists that I would go to thinking that would be my helper at the time. I think things changed today for many nutritionists, but at the time, it was more restricting.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful on, the philosophies, but I do think that's changing,
Yes. Yes.
which I'm very happy about.
So basically it's, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like the desire to be healthy in your body and mind was more important to you than the weight gain. Is that what happened?
Yes,
Okay,
there you
got
go.
it.
Yeah, we have to write that one down.
I know this
That
story very well. Fortunately or unfortunately, I've heard it many
I
times.
know.
Yeah.
And then there's a freedom that comes with it.
Yes.
That's hard to describe. So when our clients, tells us it's, we don't want to gain weight, I get it. But it's a feeling of freedom when we can let go of it. We're so conditioned to believe that it's only about weight loss
Right.
and a constant struggle towards it. When we can let go of it, we usually, I mean, I don't want to say usual, but a lot of times I'll put in the framework that you may gain weight, but you also may settle at a weight that's just easy.
Hmm.
Just easy. And like, because now I really don't gain weight or lose weight anymore. I'm just
Hmm.
where I am.
Hmm.
And that it's so comforting. My
Yeah.
clothes in my closet are the same.
Right.
It's not that highs and lows. I used to have so many highs and lows and ups and downs.
Right.
Oof.
Yes. Yes, totally. I say like you might gain weight, but you'll gain so many other things also.
Oh, I love that.
So like you said, you'll gain like you I think that people I honestly do think when they're able to do it, and you said it took so many years, but they gain like much more love and appreciation for their body, and they gain freedom, food freedom, and they gain, like freeing up all that headspace that was taken over by things that are
Yeah,
not that important.
absolutely. And one other thing that you mentioned that I hope that people can hear this is that it does take time. Like a diet promises quick,
Right.
especially what's going on today. The weight loss industry got even more severe.
Yeah.
Quick. This is not a quick fix. It's something, for most people, you dedicate your time to, you grow yourself.
Hmm.
Like you said, you gain so much more. You just become a whole new person.
Yeah.
And when we can embrace that journey, just like get on it, just start it, it heals everyone.
Yeah,
Because
it's very
as the
healing.
women, God willing, become mothers, it heals the children. It just keeps on
Yeah.
going.
Right.
So I feel like it's inevitable. We got to get on this wagon.
Like Dr. Becky. I don't know if you listen to Dr. Becky, but she calls it we're cycle breakers. Have you heard
Yes.
that? Yeah.
Yes. I haven't listened to her, but I love that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to check that out with
Yeah.
cycle breakers. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. Even like she
So
has like a call in for her podcast, and people call in and they'll be like, "Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a cycle breaker." It's very cute.
I love that. That
Yeah.
is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's
So
really
good.
cute. Yeah.
So good. So good.
Okay. So your book, when did you start writing it?
So I started writing it 3 years ago to 3 years, exactly 3 years ago. I began with the chapter of the first experience I had looking in the refrigerator and deciding what exactly do I want to eat if I had no rules and how much of it. And that was a very profound moment. I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember every second and minute of it. I started that story. And I wrote a few chapters from there. When I met my editor, well, actually, I don't want to give away too much, but
Okay, yeah, don't give away too much.
He said, send me your story. And I sent it to her and she enjoyed it. She goes, okay, how'd you get here? And that was the best question. So I had to go all the way back. It was the best question she could have asked and started a whole other half. So that part comes in the middle.
Are you a writer naturally? Is that your
You know
thing?
what? I became a journaler.
Right.
And that's how I said, wait, if I could journal these books and books and books over these last 5-6 years of being an avid journaler, I could write a book. If I could, write my Instagram posts,
Right.
and, I make them short because I have to, but I don't really want to.
Yeah, totally. Yes.
I end up becoming a writer.
Yeah, totally.
So I didn't start off as a writer. And even now that the book is done, I think if I have a next book, I do have something more in me. I think the writing will even be different. That was just me beginning 3 years ago.
So you wrote a book in 3 years and it's just coming out?
Just coming out. I did not realize how I thought, honestly, I'm going to do the whole thing in 1 year because I'm a very dedicated person. If I say I'm going to write, I'm going to write. I'm into it. I didn't know how long the editing takes. I didn't realize how long the publishing takes. This is all new to me.
Right.
So I thought it would be this past January, but it's just coming out now.
Like when did it come out?
So I have the one copy.
Okay.
And on Friday, Bizrat Hashem, I'll be getting my first shipment of 100 copies. Very exciting.
Wow.
And then from there, about a week or two later, I would say more like a few weeks later, it will be out on, for public purchase on Amazon and on my website. But from now till then, I'll be having these like mini launch parties where I could, we could share, I could say my story, people can learn, they could have the book. And I wrote the book in mind. I didn't have that much intention, like it just like came out, but it ended up being very wholesome that high schoolers and moms could both read it.
Wow.
So it has, for like a 9th grade or 10th grade, 11th, 12th to read for sure. For sure. It's easy language. It's not so complicated.
Can we see it?
Yes.
Okay. The big reveal. Yeah.
And I kept it in here just because like that's how it was delivered to me.
Oh my gosh.
And it was delivered to me today is Thursday. It was delivered on Friday, this past Friday.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is the one that I'm going to like hold. Okay.
Really?
Here we go.
Wow. Body positive, the journey. I love that.
I'm very excited.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to read it.
Thank you.
It's so special. It's so special to have your story in a book.
It is. It's big.
Yeah.
It's big.
Okay, so now I want to ask you a question. You said that you teach in school. Do you teach women classes?
Yes.
Yeah, classes.
Yes.
Do you see a change? Could you tell us about the change? Like, do you see, like you said, that there's so many women who are still trying to lose weight and still do Botox in my community, I'm sure in your community. So what is the shift? What are you seeing?
I'm seeing a small shift that people are becoming aware of their words.
Okay.
I think I'm going to break it down. Kids, high schoolers, moms, women.
Yeah.
Let's start with high schoolers. I work with them a lot. They can belt out, I am beautiful. They can do it. And it's amazing.
Wow.
They are not shy. And What they're up to today, I think it's great. Yes, there's so much perfectionism still 1,000%, but they're understanding the value of feeling good with the body that they have today. I'm seeing more body diversity and dressing in a way that they feel comfortable, like not hiding under a tent dress. I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing more self,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm loving that. I'm seeing more um, wildly curly hair. Seeing more, you know, freckles that are shown. I don't know, just a little bit more of that.
Like
And
people showing the way that they actually look versus trying to like conform and hide it.
yes, I'm seeing more of it. Is there still the other way? 100%. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
just seeing a more awareness of this is who I am. Like,
Right.
even if they're not feeling this is who I am, they know that there is this underlining feeling that they should have of this is who I am. Where I think when I grew up, we never heard that word.
No, 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 for sure not.
So they're
Um,
hearing.
they're for the most part, you think like the teenagers that you have, well, it's an elective, but you feel like they're receptive, like they want it. Are they
Yes.
resistant? Are they
No,
resistant at all? No. They
no, they
need, they're thirsty
want it.
for it. They're thirsty for it.
They're craving. They're craving. And last year we did like a whole auditorium filled with ninth and 10th in one and 11th and 12th in one. And no, they're craving it. They just want to belt it out. First, it's a lot of fun.
Right.
I don't take
Right.
it serious. I keep
Right.
it fun. It
Right.
is a serious class between me and you.
Right.
It's serious, but I don't put it out that way. That this is fun, this
Right.
is new, this is current. I put
Right.
up music that's happening, all positive message music, but like I keep it like very upbeat,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that part is great.
Right.
Um, for the moms, a little harder.
Well, the moms are coming. They're coming to the class.
They're coming. Okay, so moms, okay, I'm going to break it down in a few ways. Moms are very busy, and
Yeah.
moms do want to exercise, the moms in my community. So they don't really want to give up their exercise for this.
Okay.
They want their spin class, they
Yeah.
want Pilates, they want cardio. They
Yeah.
don't want to give it up. But the ones that do see it, and now they're telling people, and that's really growing. A lot of moms tell me, take my girls, don't
Right.
worry about me.
Yeah.
I hear
Yes.
that a lot.
Yes. Yes.
I hear that a lot. Um, Harder for moms,
Yeah.
harder. My age, 40, if I'm mid 50s, but like harder. I
What
think
about people my age, like in their 20s, 30s? What do you think?
I think they're understanding the value of being peaceful.
Mhm.
I think everyone's stress is to the roof, is anxiety galore.
Yeah.
I think they're finding that. So I play that card a lot.
Hmm.
Come feel peaceful about yourself. Like not so much about body image and body weight and like that. Just restore,
Hmm.
just nourish, and that they like a lot.
Yeah.
So I play differently, you know,
Yeah.
to each audience
Yeah.
because you know because it's important. Each of us are in a different stage, so we're feeling differently.
Right. Right. Also, you said like that when you started learning about this, it was like 2009, you said?
Yep,
And so like really you were adopting something very revolutionary, which is more acceptable now. So
correct.
the women your age are going to have more resistance than the women my
Yes,
age who are
right.
like they're in both
They
worlds because
get it.
the clients that I see in their 30s, their 20s, 30s, 40s, let's say, are very conflicted because they've been raised, even if they're in their 20s, they were put on a diet when they were 5 or 6. They know it's not helping them. They know there's an intuitive eating, health at every size, body positive movement, but they're conflicted because maybe all their sisters are still on diets. Maybe their mom's still pushing a diet. Maybe, their friend group are still into it. And then there's like, I feel like in your, I don't know, I'm only in my 30s, but I feel like in your 30s, you have a little more confidence to try something new. But then still people in their 40s are also still, they've been dieting for 20 years or 30 years. They're like, how can I give this up? So it's like, it's hard. It's
It's
really
hard.
hard. Yeah. The
100% hard.
teenagers are probably our
Yeah.
best
I
bets.
think with the eating and the dieting, the younger moms, they really want to bring up their kids in an intuitive eating manner. That's, I think, their goal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing that a lot. Like they don't want their kids to struggle like they did, like their moms did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do they balance healthy eating with intuitive eating? What does that actually mean? You
Right.
know, allow candy to be everywhere. What does that
Right.
mean?
Right. Right.
There's a lot of questions on that. How do I, do I say no to my kids if they didn't eat dinner yet, or
Right.
can they eat the snack? Like, what's all that about? And that's a big conversation. So
Yeah.
there's so much education, needing to be put in, and
Mm-hmm.
it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're gonna, what was it? Break the cycle?
Yeah. Cycle breakers. Yeah.
Cycle breakers. I think we will become cycle breakers.
Yeah. You're right. No, that's a good point. Like the moms in their 20s, like I know I struggled with that with my first. She's 10 now, but like I thought I knew everything as a dietitian, that she's gonna only have, this and that. And like it was just so clear to me how that didn't work. Like beyond, you know?
Absolutely. I have, okay, my eldest daughter is now 36. My youngest daughter is 19. And when I was bringing up my youngest daughter, I was already on this path. Oh, what a difference.
Mm-hmm.
My eldest daughter, I was teaching her about diets, literally.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying, oh, let's try this diet. Let's try, she
Mm-hmm.
didn't eat it, but let's try this, let's try that, whatever, like, it was silly. But that's what I was brought up with. So it just kept on going with my youngest daughter.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
so easy.
We're breaking the cycle.
Yes, 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 and yes.
And what about the little ones that you teach? What are you feeling like they're loving it?
Oh, they're
They're
so cute. They're so cute. So for them, they feel, I'm just trying to think. So I just taught in camp just like 2 days ago. And they're questioning. This was an interesting one. If I say I am powerful, or I am beautiful, or I am kind, a positive word, am I being boasting?
right.
Oh, I was taught to be humble.
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I was taught to be humble. Is it not nice if I say that? Another very interesting thing happened was, because I taught fourth grade, fifth, sixth, and seventh in separate time slots. And the same thing happened for all four.
Interesting.
The first part of the program was, I was asking them to say something kind, not about appearance, about their friend next to them. I had each one turn, and they were all able to say it beautifully.
So cute.
And that was their turn to say something about themselves. And there was a lot of, I was like, come on, got to answer.
Right.
5-second rule. Come on, let's do it.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
that was challenging.
Yeah.
Through the hour,
Mm-hmm.
got a little easier, but I was thrilled to put this in their mindset that
Yeah.
they can celebrate themselves and they can uplift themselves and
Yeah.
talk nicely about themselves. So just instilling what positive self-talk is,
Mm-hmm.
and starting from there. So that's like starting at grassroots.
That's so interesting. That's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like how like pendulums swing. So like I feel like um that's such an interesting thing to think about, that we like really train our kids to be like humble and I don't want to say like neglect themselves, but maybe like, like just totally like negate themselves, I guess, for the sake of other. But then we
Yes.
see how horrible that is in adulthood.
Yes. And I actually just heard this. I might not say it perfectly, but my son just told me this beautiful message, which I relayed to the kids the other day, is that he learned this in his class with his rabbi, that, Moshe was known to be the most humble man, alive in the universe, in the world. And yet, when he was giving over Devarim and the words of the Torah, he was saying, he asked Hashem, who else could take my place? Who is as great as me? Which shows us that we can believe in our greatness and know our strengths, and also be humble.
Right.
And I just thought that was a perfect example. I have to find the pasuk. I have to find exactly where, but that I thought was a perfect example to believe in your strengths and our greatest potential. And at the same time, we could be humble and not boasting.
Right.
I just thought that was a really good example.
So probably having the girls do that, even though they felt uncomfortable, was probably like really profound for the
Oh,
ones.
it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
That's
great.
amazing.
It was great. And then
Yeah.
towards, we get them going. I put the music on, we get them
Yeah.
performing, we get them writing, we get them sharing notes. We do the whole thing.
So
The whole experience.
amazing.
It's
Amazing.
great.
And really, really amazing what you're doing. Really powerful and blending so many things together that I feel like, like one we're cycle breakers, one school at a time. Like it will, I bet you, like, they say about when things like change in the world, like first they like hate you, then they fight you, then they join you. So I feel like somewhere we're getting somewhere with this, right? Like the
Oh,
fact that the schools have
1,000%.
you, like I
I'm
feel like this,
feeling it. I'm
I don't
feeling
think the
the
schools would
love.
have had you 10 years ago, right?
Oh, yep. I'm feeling the love. I'm really feeling the love. I'm walking out in my community. I am feeling embraced. I'm feeling the love. I am feeling connected. I'm just like, I feel so blessed. I feel
Wow.
so blessed.
It's amazing what you're doing. Really. Thank you for everything. Thank you for coming on and tell us where we could find your book, find you, book you
Oh,
for a class. Let's hear.
absolutely. Everything is on my website, zensari.com.
Okay.
And I took upon the name Zen Sari at the time when I was learning how to be more peaceful. And I said, I want to be Zen. So I just added
I
it.
love that. I
It
love
was
that.
part of the story. My Instagram is also Zen Sari. So very easy. And everything is there.
Okay.
Website has book and classes, how to find me, how to book a class, how to create a class, how to get a video. Yeah,
Amazing.
it's all there.
Amazing. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on. Have a great day.
Gila, thank you.
Of course. Bye.